whether it's one bill, two bills, I don't care. Let these guys, they're going to work it out. They're going to work it out one way or the other. But the bottom line, the end result is going to be the same. We want to have all of those benefits. And we want to keep people's taxes low and actually make them lower. And that's not just rich people, that's everybody. It's frankly, proportionately the lower scale, much more so than a higher scale. Not only must we permanently extend the Trump tax cuts, if we don't, you're going to have about a 60% tax increase. But I also intend to keep my promises, starting with no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime. We're working very hard to get them done, and we are. I went to Nevada just this last couple of days. I started off in North Carolina because I didn't want to forget the people of North Carolina were treated so badly by FEMA. And they came to me, they said, "Sir, you're going to California tomorrow." I said, "Well, what about North Carolina?" "Well, we'll do that another time." And I said, "No, we won't. I'm stopping in North Carolina first." And we stopped there. We met great people. Franklin Graham has done a fantastic job. He's done a great job, but others also. And I met people that were devastated. The Democrat Party with FEMA, their FEMA did absolutely nothing. And we have that worked out. Your congressmen are helping very much there. Your three Congress people are working very hard on that whole thing, along with Michael Whatley. And Laura wants to be involved too. Laura Trump, she's doing great jobs. She's done a great. Michael and Laura have been unbelievable as the head of the RNC. They've been unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know why I picked Michael? I said, who ran North Carolina? Tell me, because in the 2016 election, we did so well, and then in 2020, we did great in North Carolina, but others we watched, ping, ping. What the hell's going on? But with North Carolina, when he had 601 lawyers working for him, and they didn't play games in North Carolina, I said, that's the guy I want to run it. And Michael Whatley has done an unbelievable job, and he worked with Laura so well. She comes from that state, from North Carolina. They've done such an incredible job. So thank you very much. I want to just thank you in front of leadership. Incredible. And I really don't want to give him another job, to be honest. That's the most important job. He said, "Sir, I'll go anywhere." I said, "I don't want you to go anywhere. I want you to stay where you are. We'll give you plenty of money to get the job done, right? But we don't want to lose it." I mean, he could do anything, actually, but he's a very talented person. There's nothing more important, because we have to win in 2 years, or we have to win in 4 years. There's nobody better to head it up. So thank you very much, Michael, and really stand up. We're just an incredible job. Really amazing. I wanted to save that for leadership, because I say it all the time. People don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but leadership knows what I'm talking about, and it's really incredible. The two of you as a team are unbelievable. Our administration will also be working to implement the Make It in America plan that I outlined very successfully in my campaign. I think my campaign, I really focused on the border more than anything else. A lot of people said the biggest thing was inflation and the economy, and then maybe the border was third. I always felt the border was first, because I felt that people could really understand that you can't have people pouring in from the prisons all over the world and from mental institutions all over the world and dumped into our country. So I talked about that much more so than I did inflation. I mean, inflation was terrible. It was the worst. I think it was the worst in the history of our country. But you can only talk about it so long. The price of apples doubled, the price of bacon is quadrupled, everything is a disaster. And you say it, and then what do you do? With this, I could give examples of what they're doing to destroy our country, and I felt it was the strongest thing. It's funny, in 2016, I won on the border. In 2020, we did so well, I couldn't talk about the border. My people would say, "Sir, don't bring up the border. Nobody wants to hear it." I said, "No, I did a great job." It was a horrible border in 2016, but that border was beautiful compared to what we have now. So I didn't talk about it, and we did great. I mean, look, I got millions of more votes in 2020 than I got in 2016. Nobody ever got the most votes of any Republican in history in 2020. But this time I said, let's make it too big to rig. We're going to make it too big to rig, and that's what happened, and they couldn't. They tried, these cheating guys, these cheating people, but they tried, but they gave up. I brought taxes down from 40% to 21%, which everybody said was impossible. And I did it with these people up here and a lot of the people there. A great congressman. I want to name every one of them, but I'd be naming them all night. I'm looking at them. Look at all these people. They're great. They're so great. Russell and you. And every single Virginia. Look at Virginia. She's a killer. Nobody would know she's a killer. But I got all these congressmen. I want to name every one of them, but I got like 100 and something things. And people would say, let's get the hell out of here. This is getting very boring, right? But I will tell you, as a group and individually, they're incredible people. Every one of them I like, although every once in a while, if somebody votes against me, I don't like him for a little while, but we like every one of them. And this guy has the ability to get along with everybody, which he has to when you have a majority of really 5. You know, they say 1, but it will be. But right now it's 1. I want to make him sound a little bit. But he has an ability to get along with people, and he's very smart, very tough. But everyone likes him because he's a high-quality person, very religious person, and he's a high-quality person. You know, we have other guys here, and I know that everybody likes them, but they're like, one of them in particular, I love this guy so much. I won't name him because I don't want to embarrass him, but I don't know if he'd be happy or not happy, but he's very, very strong, very, very popular, but he has 36 people that won't vote for him. Just 36, that's not a lot. That's a small percentage. Tom is incredible. But Tom has a couple of people that probably have been beaten badly and beaten up. You beat up some people badly, and it's a little tougher. But he's done an unbelievable job. I've become friendly with him. I didn't really know him. And over the last year or so, I've become friendly. He's incredible. He's an incredible leader. You really are. But you have a couple of people that maybe more than one. Let me put it that way. They all love him. Your wife loves you. That I can tell you. He's got a great... Where are you? Where are you? Stand up, please. Just stand up. Come on. What a great wife and family. It's true. Thank you. She is a great... Look at her. She's very popular, isn't she, huh? She's great, more than you. You're very popular. And now I'm bringing them down. I'm bringing the taxes down from 21 to 15%, but only if they make their product in America. So if they make their product in America, we're bringing it down. So if you think about it, we took it down from 40 to 15%. But again, you keep 21, but you go down to 15 if you make your product here. We are going to have so many business moving back into our country. And remember, again, the word tariff. We're going to protect our people and our businesses, and we're going to protect our country with tariffs. And you got a little indication of that yesterday with what happened with a very strong country. Colombia is traditionally a very, very strong-willed country. If they don't make their product in America, then very simply they should have to pay a tariff, which will bring in trillions of dollars into our treasury from countries that never paid us 10 cents. We're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let them destroy our country. In the words of President McKinley, who is the tariff king, the protective system invokes the highest law of nature, that a self-preservation, and that is self-preservation. There is every reason founded in justice why the American producer should in every way be favored against a foreign producer whose products compete with his. This is our natural market. We have made it. We have made it an enormous cost, capital, and exertion. And think of this. And we did that through exertion and brain and muscle and guts and stamina. We preserved it against foreign wars and domestic conflicts at great sacrifice of men and women. The foreign producer has contributed nothing to the growth or development of this country. So if you want to share with the citizens of the United States our home market, then you must pay for the privilege of doing it. In other words, you have to pay for the privilege of coming into our country, taking our jobs, taking our product, destroying our countries. We mentioned North Carolina, the furniture business, what they've done to these great artisans. I used to go down to North Carolina all the time to buy furniture for hotels that I was building. And they had the most incredible artisans. That whole thing was wiped out by China mostly, but others. And just wiped out, but it's going to come back. It's going to come roaring back. It's all going to come roaring back. We're going to put tariffs on outside countries and outside people that really mean us harm. They want to, well, they mean us harm, but they basically want to make their country good. Look at what others do. China's a tremendous tariff maker, and India and Brazil and so many countries. And so we're not going to let that happen any longer, because we're going to put America first. Always put America first. That's what's going to happen. We're going to establish a very fair system where money's going to come into our coffers, and America is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know, the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense? Huh? Under the American First economic model, as tariffs on other countries go up, taxes on American workers and businesses will come down, and massive numbers of jobs and factories will come home. The job creation will be enormous. In particular, if you look at the automobile sector, I mean, we're just being wiped out. You just take a look at what's happened to that over the years. And the auto workers voted for me. I have an obligation to do what's right, and I'm going to do that. Do you know, in Mexico, they were going to build the largest auto plant anywhere in the world. And it was during the campaign, my most recent campaign. And a very great gentleman, all he does is he builds auto plants. He was building this factory. And I said, how's it going? I said, I want to go around and take a look at one of your factories that you're building. One of the big ones, one of the good ones. I said, okay, are you ready? When are you going to do this? Is 9 months ago. He said, you'll have to go to Mexico. I said, what about the United States? He said, we're putting up a couple, but they're small. He's the biggest guy at doing it. He said, in Mexico, they're building massive automobile factories. I said, you mean they're doing it? And who's the owner of the factories? He said, mostly China. One in particular is massive, and it's built fairly close to the border. So they were going to build cars and send them into the United States for no tax or very little tax, and destroy Detroit. Just destroy the rest of it, what's left of it, because they've already